Oh, yeah, baby. What's up? What's up, everybody? The RNS connection is in the building.
What's up, people? My name is Shaka Shabazz.
RAYSHON&SHAKA right here. Cha-cha.
And this is the RS Connection.
Yeah, coming at you right here on this Friday. Happy Friday to you. Cheers, brother. We always got to get this.
Where
you drink, man? What you doing? What's that Kool-Aid? What you doing with that Kool-Aid?
That's okay.
Yeah, no sucralose, though.
I'm going to live 30 days longer than you.
Not after your sucralose poisoning. That's just still lingering. Oh, it's a good one. Yo, while we here, he's making that face. We got to give a shout out to Nook Kitchen right here at 4231 in East Indian School Road in Arcadia. You know, that's Phoenix, Arizona, if y'all ain't from here. When you come to Arizona, you got to hit up Arcadia. You got to hit up the Nook. Yeah, you're an upstanding citizen, Mr. Shabazz.
I'm a citizen.
Upstanding. Oh, what was I hear about citizens? When you say you're a citizen, that means you truly are property of the United States Corporation of America. United States of America Corporation. In other words, you give up other rights and stuff, and you become like it's like you work for the country and you don't have certain rights when you say citizen. And it's written in like the 1920 laws or something. I have to look that one up for another show.
1920,
yeah. But it was put in the paperwork, so I'm gonna have to look that one up.
When you say paperwork,
it's paperwork.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Country got paperwork. Everything is paperwork. White folks work with paperwork, son. Always know it's paperwork. People, you can believe what you want. They always got paperwork. Because it's America. That's what they had to do. And in the 20s, that's what it was.
White folks are the only people in America.
In the 1800s and 20s, that's the only ones that mattered.
To who?
To the paperwork and the constitutions. Do we need to go through history about this, sir? Or do we just need to move on to the next thing and find out if you're going to get, what color flying car would you get? Come on now.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't get one. No.
Why?
I wouldn't get a flying car until like 10 years in.
Oh, man. Oh, they got one in Japan. It's like a motorcycle, like a little Suzuki. It's got the 4-pedal lights pretty tight. I was like, yo, I could be flossing on that. I think that was like 200,000 though. I'm like, yeah, maybe next time.
You can fly it anywhere in Japan?
I guess. I don't know how Japan working. I saw the bike plane. That's all.
A bike plane.
I mean, it's got the propellers. It's a bike. It's a hovercraft.
Okay.
Yeah, I just call it a bike plane, man.
I think I did see something like that.
It's tight, man. You sitting on that sucker, I'd be like,
how would you do it?
Straight buzz mug. I see that cat. I don't like him nowhere. Get my egg out. Yeah, I'm that dog. Yep. Then I'm out. Drop him.
I'm gonna have to take you in for a fucking drug test. Something.
That's fine. It's Arizona. It don't matter.
You're gonna make that an RS policy.
Drug test? Yeah. That's cool.
RAYSHON. RAYSHON's acting kind of weird out today. Really?
He's
just not himself.
Speaking of that, it's a stock out there. It's called Cannabix. And what they do, they have a breathalyzer, oral breathalyzers that can measure marijuana on your breath. So it's like law enforcement. You know how you got to blow in the little jing? Mm-hmm. They got one that measures marijuana. So with all this thing becoming legal, that's like very important. Like, so if you had the job, say for instance, you had the job, you drive a forklift and you have a wreck, you know, they're going to test you. Right now they test your blood. If you did anything even a week ago, it's in your blood. Well, this here would test it for 2 to 4 hours. So it lets them know like, yo, nah, he ain't high. This was an accident. Or, oh, he was high as hell. Let's fire this dude. So I'm like looking for this, and I invest in it. I hope it goes. Cannabix, come on, baby, let's get this thing popping. I'm with you. I agree with your policy. I like that. But with everything, I mean, you need that. You know, you don't want to just be having people still doing the old school blood test, and then they just getting handled up and messed up and stuff, right?
What do you mean handled up and messed up?
You know, like if something go wrong, like what if you at a party, you go to a job interview and they be like, oh, we're ready, we're gonna drug test, and you like, ooh, that party was 2 weeks ago, and then show up and you don't get the job. I'm like, dog, come on, it was one time. Or again, if it's an accident, or random things, you driving and
so you're saying that I got THC in my blood, but I haven't had a joint in 2 weeks. So this accident, like a motherfucker that smoked weed waited 2 weeks to have his next joint.
What if you smoked it last night? What if you smoked it at night and then it's happened at like 11 o'clock in the day? It ain't gonna show because that wasn't the issue that you had. It wasn't because you was intoxicated or high. You had an accident. you weren't under the influence. Because that was 12 hours ago.
This is based on your logic or what?
No, scientific logic. Like scientific logic. Like, if
Can I ask the question first before you answer it? Damn. You on fire, man.
It's Friday, man, and it's hot outside. Yeah, I'm fired. I'm chocolate. I'm melting. Hey, ladies, I'm melting. You need to come over here and scoop this up.
Pause.
Why you gotta pause? I'm trying. Why they gotta pause? Don't pause, lady. Don't pause.
Oh, you talking to the ladies?
Yeah, I'm not talking.
I don't know. We talking about what? Then you just kind of went into that.
I mean, yeah, because it's hot. It's Friday. It's hot, and I'm melting. I told the ladies come scoop me up. Like, yo, I know y'all like chocolate.
So, normally, the way things work now is, you have THC could last in your bloodstream for like 30 days from last time you did it. Mm-hmm. So, say for example, today I wrecked the fucking forklift at work, and I get a drug test, and they say, oh, we got cannabis inside of you, whatever, gotta let you go. You're saying that, well, I didn't smoke any weed today. In your example, you're saying I didn't smoke any weed today, so last time I smoked weed was 3 days ago, so this accident has nothing to do with it. But this is the part that maybe you forgot about. They don't want you to use drugs as an employee, not so much that you had it yesterday or 20 days ago. You have drugs in your system, period.
I beg to differ, because now if you're in certain states, it's a recreational deal. So it's like alcohol.
Nothing to do with
it's like alcohol.
It has nothing to do
it's
with
all gravy.
It has
changed.
It has nothing. No, it hasn't.
It has.
No.
And then
you don't know the law. Then you're saying that you don't understand the marijuana law.
I mean, no. I mean, federally, I know it's not. Federally, it's not. But
so the state says it's okay to sell recreational marijuana. However, a company could say we don't want an employee to. So it has nothing to do with what the state did.
Correct. However, one thing.
But you can't say with your logic. You're using your logic.
However, my logic is great because you finished your question. Jeez. Go ahead, man, y'all, man, pray for this guy. He don't like me, man. I told him I thought he was an important person, and he don't like me still. You see the heat I be taking. You see the hate, the pain. I just be wanting to have a conversation, tell him something, and life is hard over here behind this camera, y'all. It's hard over here by this ninth ward, man. It's hard. But anyway, what I was gonna say was, if it was this way, you wouldn't have no question about did you smoke or not, because they would be like, yo, he's clean.
But it doesn't. But my thing is
they wouldn't even question it.
My thing is that it doesn't matter whether it's going to be you're clean or not. If they have a policy that they don't want an employee smoking weed, it doesn't matter how many laws are out there that says that it's okay to smoke it on your own time. They could still say you got cannabis in your system and we don't hire employees.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want our employee having cannabis in it.
Yeah.
So that's the only point I'm making about it. Yeah. And a lot of people think that. People at work say that all the time. Well, it's legal. I should be able to smoke whenever I want. It doesn't matter if I have it in my system. But a company could say that they don't want to hire anybody with that in their system.
I agree with that. So at hiring, go ahead and do that blood test. Do the blood test. But if it's an accident, I need to be vindicated. Look, dog, I ain't wrecked this because of X, Y, and Z. That changed the whole outcome.
Because you're a weed head.
But I'm not.
You are a weed. Just because you didn't smoke yesterday, don't
it ain't showing up right here. But I'm glad I got my own business. Gee whiz. I ain't got the questions. I'm glad I don't participate in that either. Good upstanding citizen here. I'm just posing questions, sir.
I'm trying to, as an employee, I'm telling you that's what happens.
I know cats be on there talking about I can smoke anywhere. It's legal now. It's like, dog, you can't go to work high. Don't do it. But they be doing it, but don't do it. They and then be sitting there
Yeah, I mean,
and they be high. Not like just high, like people.
Imagine most people that smoke just like most people that drink or most people that pop pills. You think the only time they're not doing it is when it's time to clock in? No, motherfuckers be high, drunk at work. They just haven't gotten caught.
I used to have a homeboy that used to go job interviews high as hell because he was like, "Yo, if you hire me like this, I ain't no different when I start working because I'm high every day." So, and he used to get jobs and be holding them suckers because, I mean, what's the difference? I was like, bro, you crazy. I'm like, bro, you crazy. He'd just be like, yeah, I gotta go to work though. And he'd be out. I'm like,
low functioning motherfucker.
Hey man, he have a job, pay his bills. I ain't mad at you, bro. I ain't have to pay
job
this.
he got.
I mean, I can't remember. This was back in the day.
Some jobs.
I mean, it was
now some jobs they don't care because that thing is loud.
I know, right? Beep beep.
Get ready to jump.
Beep beep. Toot toot.
Ready to jump out of bed put on my uniform every time I hear that shit. Oh shit.
Oh shit. My monkey suit.
Saturday.
I had an ex, you'd be like, my monkey suit. I got to put on my monkey suit. She was an airline, flight attendant, and she's
Who was she?
And she called it, huh?
Who was she?
Can I drop
Who was she, motherfucker?
Her name was Mia, man. She was fine. She was
Who was
fine.
she to
She
you?
was fine. I said my ex.
Oh, okay.
Damn, she was fine. Cause I be answering stuff and then you don't be listening.
I didn't hear you, my brother.
Damn, man. Y'all, she was fine though. She was like this black and Hawaiian shit. Man, she was fine.
Have to do with?
But I'm just saying she was fine. Oh God, cause she was that pretty. Like, dog, she was that pretty. Like, anyway. But she used to have me laughing because she'd be like, my monkey suit. She'd be had a little song and dance. She'd be mad going to work. She'd be mad. I'm like, have a great
married her.
I should have.
Took off the market. Should have took off the market. Then she wouldn't have to work.
I was wilding then.
Don't matter.
Man, yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Boy.
Should have married her.
Okay, maybe my uncle said I should have put a baby in there because she was that fine. I was like, nah, dog, I'm wilding.
Yeah, ninjas. Oh no, man, don't marry her. Just get her pregnant.
But I didn't. See, upstanding citizen here.
You'll only have to deal with her for 18 years instead of the rest of her life.
That's all. 18.
Oh, that's a controversy right there.
Damn, I would have been finished my 18 about now.
Yep.
Oh man, I'd have been free right now. Getting ready.
You would have just got off child support.
Yep. Ready to ball, baby.
Nope. You would have been like, Dad, I think I'm going to college.
No, it was after college, man. I was already finished.
You don't listen.
Oh, I got you now. I'm like, oh, baby, I hope you get, like my mama said, I hope you get a scholarship because I ain't got no money for that. Oh, really? Get a scholarship.
That's the only time men don't want their kids to go to college when they do.
I hope you get a scholarship.
And Judge be
academic.
Like, and Judge says if he goes to college, you're still got responsible.
I'm like, cool.
Hey, boy,
I live in Panama now.
Be like, damn, you want to trade, boy. You don't want to go to school. Get you a good trade.
Get paid right now. You make a lot of money. Get off my shit. Get off me. Shoot. You and your mama. Can't stand you. Should have came in.
Saying that when you were all in the inerts.
No, I sure wasn't. But I also didn't have a kid, so.
I can't stand you. I'm about to put this baby in you. I can't stand you.
That's how it go. Pop up.
That's how they do it?
That's how it pop up in there.
That's how they do it. That's fucking nasty.
You started this shit. Man, last question, man. I got a question for you, man. I ain't got time to be messing with you, sir.
You asked me, I don't understand why you set this up as questions because I don't get to answer the questions.
I just like to
Is that the shtick? Is that
yeah, that's I love that shit. I love messing with you. I mean effing with you. I mean I don't know what I mean, but it's funny.
Pause.
Yeah. That's when you say it. Good job, man. Pause. He like saying that to y'all see it. He's like pause.
I got that from Dame Dash, man.
Pause. He said with the voice pause.
Dame Dash or Damien Dash? Dame Dash?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, I forget. You don't know how black
I know who
icons.
Dash is.
You don't know the black icons. You only know.
I know. No, I only know Elon Musk. Yeah, baby. Pause. Dame Dash.
You ain't even say it right.
Pause. Pause. That's how it goes.
Okay. All right. You're overdoing it.
Pause. Boy, where do you put in that drinker though? Nasu, is this?
I don't know. You over there getting inebriated.
Who, me? Never that. On
like
camera.
Sound just like a drunk. Man.
I'm appalled.
This is just my 7th one.
I'm appalled.
I can handle my liquor with my keys.
Damn, dog.
With my keys.
No, I don't do that, man. It's Uber now. I don't have to practice with one eye no more. Yeah, I used to practice, dog. That was terrible.
You know how fast you were going, boy?
No, I had one eye and I wasn't weaving because I only saw singles. You just gotta drive like this some nights. And then when you get tired, you gotta switch to the other one. Gotta practice.
I'm helping paint white lines.
Let me stop, y'all. I don't do
don't joke about. Don't joke
I'm a
about
good dude now. I don't do that.
Drinking and driving.
Nah, it's terrible, y'all. It's terrible. I almost died a few times, so don't do that. Like, for real.
Who's this?
I find out all about
confessions or some shit.
Man, I'm just saying. I'm trying to save lives by telling stories. I am trying to say, don't do it. I almost died, dog.
Don't do what I do. Do what I.
Don't do what I say. Do what I do. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Y'all know that your mama said that, and when she said with the little muffin, boy, if you don't do it, you'd be like, oh, shit, I'm gonna die. Oh yeah, you was a latchkey hoodlum. You don't know about that. My mama, you know, boy. My mom tried to throw me. I got in trouble for some school mess. This chick was trying to throw me out of a moving car.
I think you're trying to imply that I didn't have a mother.
No, I'm trying to imply that she was a hoodlum. I'm gonna tell you what I'm implying. He was running them streets.
He had no values.
He was running them streets. As in your words, I was running them streets.
Don't boomerang that shit back to me.
As in your words, I was in them streets. Man, anyway. All right, Joe. One more thing I wanted to ask you about. So, this was a question that was posed to me because I always ask people like different things. They said
you ask people different things.
There was different, like points and questions, things that might be concerning them as I'm looking for things to talk about and just finding out what the world is thinking. Kat was like, is it easier or better now as a black man to have and run a business in America versus like 1945, 50? That's what I say.
How old was the dude that?
He's 60.
Well, he's
62.
At 60, he probably could. No, not really, but yeah, I guess at 60 he could have.
Well, let's just say 70s maybe. I don't know. But he was saying in the past, like I think he gave the time of like about 40s, 50s, 60s. So like he wanted to know, what did you think it was easier now as a black man to have and run a business, or are you facing the same difficulties? Is it worse? Is it the same? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think they're different road barriers. Some are different road barriers than before, and some things have obviously gotten better and have changed. I mean, you can't build up a fucking prosperous town and have a bunch of prospering, how should I say, enterprising citizens, and then somebody decide that they don't like it and come and burn the motherfucker down. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen no more. You hear me? You feel me? But there are still barriers to getting access to the real money, capital. Oh yeah, that's definitely still a thing. Just because you see a bunch of people with businesses, you have to ask yourself and ask them, how were they able to get that capital? And that is still a barrier. Yeah. Most black people who have businesses, and I'm not talking about side hustles and scams all that other. I'm talking about real businesses. No shade to those people. What scams? Yeah, I hate scammers. But people that got fucked up. No, because they're parasites on the community. People that are trying to do something. So I fuck them. But people who have real businesses, they have to scrimp and scrape and save for the viable years that they could be using to get their business up and going. They're using those years to save the money up to get the business started.
Right.
You know, they don't have excess capital and stuff like that to expand their businesses and to grow it in other markets and things like that. You know, those people are still getting excuses and not being able to get their hands on that capital that other groups of people have easy access to. Right. And you can argue all day long whether we're living better and, you know, we're doing better than this and that. That is still a fact.
True.
So in that regard, there are still barriers to people getting businesses and starting up. You know, there's a bunch of loopholes that, especially when money's tight, right? Especially when banks are tightening up their, you know, and the economy is not moving along as good. Then they're scrutinizing everybody, right? What do you think they do to us? Look what happened to the black farmers in America. I know that's kind of not really exactly what we're talking about, but it ties into it because after the Civil War, 30%, I don't want to misquote, but I think they said like 30% of the farmers were black in America after the Civil War.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And now got what?
There's less than 1%. So what happened? Many different things happened over here. And by the way, there are still farming black farmers today that are in major lawsuits right now with the federal government because of the practices and that their farms were taken away from them.
Right.
Or they were squeezed out because they weren't able to get that capital because that money goes down to the local jurisdictions who don't want them to get access to that money, and a lot of them lost their farms. And guess who bought them? Their competitors that were in cahoots with the local government. Yeah. So I know I'm going on and on about it, but what I'm saying is when you say is it easier to have a business today than it was, you know, 80, 90 years ago? Well, in some ways, of course it is. But in a lot of ways, we still have a lot of barriers. Yeah. You know, just think, we don't own, and I'm not talking about the outliers. I'm not talking about the one guy here and the one guy there. We don't own industries. We own a lot of businesses, but we don't have a lock on industries. Right. You know, we don't have a lock on technology. Yeah, we got a lot of people that's in technology. Right. But they're not running major corporations in technology. They're not running major corporations that part of like the military industrial complex. Right. I mean, black people, and I'm not talking about little contracts, of course. Right. You get your little contract, and even when you get the little contracts, you ain't got access to them big contracts. Right. You know, so there are some ways it is, some ways it's not.
I agree. You know, I was ready to ask you that because it hit me with that. You know, I think one of the biggest differences is the potential of capital earning. In the past, I think you were really locked into a smaller market, more of your community, your city. If it's black affiliate, you know, you got to be in that area. You weren't crossing over. Where now you're able to do crossovers, kind of like music. You're able to go, instead of gold, you're able to go platinum. You know, because you're able to hit a mass market. So I think in some ways that way, you know, you're able to make a little bit more money. But again, getting to the money, like you said, is a challenge starting up, you know, and really having a great base to start up. Not I'm a little check by check startup, but actually have 6 months to a year of startup capital to really make and grow the business. And you know, when you live not by check, you tend to make different decisions. You see the world a little different. You will take a chance on this that's going to pay out bigger versus if, oh man, I got 10,000. This thing is about 8,000. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna take this chance here because that's gonna leave me short. Now, if you had 100,000, that 10,000, I'm gonna go ahead and take this chance right here and see how this works. If I lose it, I lose it. If I win it, I win big. You know, and so I think you make different steps when you have that capital to start up with.
Yeah, but
you know,
the other part of that too is though, you say like I got $10,000, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been in this position quite a few times. I got $10,000. It took me 2 years, 5 years, whatever, to save this $10,000. I got sitting in the bank that I'm not touching. You know, if I never touch that, I'll be okay, right? And then there's an opportunity to come along that, you know, you may want to take advantage of, or somebody offer you a business, or you want to open up something. That $10,000 is precious because once it's gone,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's gone.
Yeah.
That's different than a person who has $10,000 in the bank and then they go get a secured loan
That's what I'm saying.
for $10,000 or an unsecured loan for $10,000. That's somebody else's money.
That's right.
So if worse come to worse, the deal fall through, the business go bad or whatever, I owe the bank $10,000. Payment plan, still got my $10,000 here at the bank. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's totally different.
That's what I'm saying. You make a different decision.
So when a lot of times, and I know this is not what you're saying, but I've heard this criticism that, well, and they're talking about black people. Oh, well, you know, they just don't know how to invest their money. I was like, it's not that. It's that that's all I have. So I have to, and there are no guarantees. And some people, you hear success stories. I only had $5 and I took that $5 and I, you know, cha-ching, and I'm, you know, whatever. You know, I got chicken shacks all over the country. That's not typical of what happens.
No, not at all.
You know, that $10,000 is gone. Once it's gone, it's gone.
That's it.
Once you bought the equipment, the person you bought the equipment back, they don't want that equipment back.
Nope. And if they do, it's gonna be for pennies on the dollar.
Thank you. So
you pay 10 for it, you're gonna get 3.
Right. So those are important decisions when you live in paycheck to paycheck. But for a lot of people, they don't have access to that capital. And
you know, it's funny when we talk about it in this thing. I'm almost like it's a little harder to run a business now than back in the day. Because back in the day, you had the community, you provide a service. Your startup was a whole different deal. You just start the service, and then you might continue the service, and then you kind of grow more organically. It wasn't so much always alone, and then. In certain times, you had black banks, so getting the capital was a lot easier than it is now. So in some instances, I think it may have been a little bit less challenging when you're talking about that. Again, the overall outcome is probably the same with businesses succeeding, but at the same time, if you're doing a great service in the old days, you were able to do it. My grandfather was a brick mason.
With your contemporary mind, with our contemporary minds, I think there's a lot of factors involved in that we don't take into account. We take advantage of the day. That was not the case back in the day.
Right.
So, for example, I remember reading or listening to this podcast about the black gangs they call it black gangs, but like the black underworld of Chicago, right? And this blew my mind because I didn't even know this. Like, do you know what? It's basically the black people were locked out of everything. The only thing, and this happened in a lot of cities, the only thing they could really get into, and I'm talking about like the cities and stuff,
right,
was the numbers racket.
Right.
The numbers racket is what really brought wealth into the black community because they didn't have access to legitimate businesses. Sure, there was some here and there, but it wasn't a whole lot.
Right.
Remember, after Reconstruction, where you had all your butcher, baker, candlestick makers,
right?
Because they were the ones who did the work. They were the laborers.
Right.
So of course they came out of slavery with all these skills.
Right.
So the blacksmiths and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Right.
Yeah, trades. Yeah.
So, but the system, as it were, was like, well, yeah, but if I can't hire you for next to nothing, or if you get too prosperous, we're gonna take it away from you.
Yep.
Those who did, right?
Yeah.
So over the next 20 to 30 years, those skills became less and less and less. Right now, you're gonna coming into the industrial age,
more
right?
industrial, yeah.
And a lot of the agrarian blacks from the South and different parts of the country was going into those urban sectors thinking that they were going to be able to get jobs and be able to blah, 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 and that didn't happen. They were locked. They became locked out of a lot of stuff, or they worked for very, very cheap, right? And then they ended up in the slums and blah blah blah. So the numbers game became a way for people to make money, and then those people who were successful with related to the numbers bracket were able to get them a building.
Yeah.
Open up this, open up that, open up that. And I'm kind of glazing over it, but you know what the overall thing I'm saying. And that was because they were locked out. Ain't no way a black man was gonna walk into a white bank and be like, I don't care what kind of skill you got, I don't care what kind of ideal you were, because it wasn't about the skill or ideal, it was just about the social the mindset back then. Yeah. But we persevered through that, and we were able to get a little something and expand from that. So we got a little leg up and was able to do some things. So comparing it today, where we don't have to do all that kind of stuff, well, we still got dope boys.
I don't know. I mean,
we still got dope boys.
Well, how you can secure the money?
Yeah.
What do you do to secure it? Do you go straight? Do you just go to the casino? Do you do something on the side? Do you have a rich uncle? What do you do? You know, so I mean, certain things have changed. Some things are the same. I think the biggest change again is just the total revenue that you can bring in. I think the challenges to acquiring the revenue to start, I think they're probably a little harder now. Just because you're outside of your community and most things, and the community does not support. You know, it was locked in.
Community, what do you mean?
Black, if you're black, the black community. Because then there was a black community.
But the community now
is a little different.
It's supposed to be where you live.
Yeah, but it's a little different. It's a little different.
So my point is though, but feel me for a minute. If your community is where you live right now, then isn't that your community?
Yeah, but you find that because you're.
So shouldn't you be able to go to the community in your bank, regardless of what you look like? Because that is your community.
It still functions the same way.
Why?
Because America.
That's your answer for everything.
I mean, what else I'm supposed to say?
No, that's your way of letting motherfuckers off the hook. It's just America.
It's America. I mean, it's a YouTube. What you want me to say? What you want me to say? It's America. And anybody that understands,
the UFOs.
Understand.
It was
the UFOs didn't land because it was America. They like, oh, you know how they gonna do that? They shoot. Oh, we can't get that business started because it's America. You know how they do it. But you need to get that bag.
But with that being said, though, a lot of people will will tell you that that's not it, right?
They're gonna tell you that.
I was successful. What's your problem?
Yeah, you know, that's a rough one. That's a rough one, though. You know, that's a rough one. As a business owner, black business owner, and in a different community, it is a challenge because you have people, especially when I'm talking about social issue or things, and they're like, "Well, Todd, you did. I mean, RAYSHON, you did it." Like, yeah, my government name. Yeah, you did it. Blah 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 blah. But that doesn't mean that this is. I fell through the crack. I figured out a way. I did this. You know, you cannot compare the whole thing of people doing this and succeeding to me succeeding, because different challenges, different upbringings, different paths. So it's always that deal to try to communicate like, yes, I'm fortunate, I'm blessed, things there, but do not try to hold the whole.
Did you have a rich uncle to go to?
You know, when I started my business, I was working, and I found a connection, and I got into a building. I had $4,000.
No, but I'm saying, did you have a?
No, I didn't have that. I figured I had some stuff hidden.
Did you have a good friend of yours?
No, all mine was self-made. It was just me.
Did you call your daddy and say, hey, look, sir. I need you to sell 30% of the land?
I was trying to tell you how I did it. I was trying to tell you how I did it.
I'm making a point.
I was going to make a point.
Follow me. Did you call your daddy and say, can you sell 10% of your land and give me a $2 million?
No.
Did you say? Did you call the bank? Did you call the bank and say, you know what? I got a trust fund. You know, let me break off 10% out of that trust fund.
Yeah, no, I know where you're going, man. I know where you're going, but that's what I'm saying. It's a little different. But hey.
What do you mean it's a little bit?
No, because you made me think of something. You was talking. I was like, yo,
get your point.
It was interesting when you was like how the government was taking land that happened to my family back in Winston-Salem. The fairground land that they had that the city took, the sheriff was stealing it from my grandmother after not my grandmother, my great-grandmother, after her husband died, and one of her children would get in jail, and they would take plots to let them out, you know. Oh yeah, it was shady. She was signed some, and then they did some other stuff, but you know the shadiness there.
Who was going to jail?
One of the uncles, one of my
that motherfucker should have worked it off.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but yeah, they snatched a little bit. But basically, the fairgrounds and the convention center are on my old land. Like, you can go and there's a old graveyard.
The land where it is today.
Was our family. And there's a graveyard sitting on that thing, but it was swindled out. And it was funny when you said numbers because my grandfather, to get married, my grandmother, her granddaddy, her father ran the numbers, and he had to work for him to get everything. So when we talk about this, it's funny how the ties go in to get to where you're going.
Many communities,
many people. I was just saying that
it
touched home.
That story that you told. Millions of stories like that. So when people talk about pick yourself up from the bootstrap and all this kind of stuff,
it's games. It's America.
All right, guys, check this out.
It's time to go.
If you have any topic ideas, please hit us up at RAYSHON&SHAKA@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and
YouTube.
Please
make sure I add it.
Hit that notification bell.
Hey, stop for it.
And subscribe to the channel. Could you always be interrupting me, man?
I ain't smart.
The announcements out, like the church, man.
I ain't even interrupt. Anyway, hit them buttons. Smash that like too.